Hey Hannah, I am working on your stats here. The questions that you sent were, are you more comfortable with social media or in person? And then comparing in person with phone. And you can do that, that's fine, but you can do a lot more. So let's start with that one. I put all your stuff into SPSS here, and I'm just going to do descriptive statistics. And we want in phone or in person and social media or in person. Let's see what all we want here. Okay, that should be good. Okay, let's see what we get. So this is the number we're going to look at here, this mean score. So if it's closer to um, 2, the way that things were set up was 1 was phone, 1 was social media, and then 2 was always in person. I believe that's correct anyway. Let me look just to make sure. Variable view. Phone versus, yeah, 1 is phone and then 1 is social media. So that's good. Um, where did our sheet go? Here it is. Let me shrink this real quick. So these are both closer to 2 than to 1. And so what that tells you is that people prefer to talk to other people more than either on phone or on social media. But 1.5 is like right literally in the middle, right? So it's equal between social media and in person. I mean, it's 5, 6, so that barely matters. 1.68 meaning people prefer in person over the phone fairly heavily. So that's what this means. You don't have to pay attention to much of the other stuff, but those numbers are the ones that matter. Um, Beyond that, you can do a lot more. So let's just look at, oops. Um, well, here, we'll run it's called a MANOVA. I'm going to reset it. Dependent variables. Let's do social media or in person, phone or in person. And now we want to know about men and women and the differences. So, well, we don't need that. Let's get our descriptives, effect sizes. See what we get here. So with this one, we see that not a significant difference between men and women. So you see it there. Now, what we've got here, 0.07. If this number is below, at or below 0.05, that means it is a significant difference. This is close. So social media or in person, it's almost different for men and women, but not quite. And then phone or in person, not much at all different. That means that 0.896 means that it's 89.6% the same. Um, and so if we go back up here, social media or in person, males were a 1.75, heavily favoring in person, and females were 1.38, so that's heavily favoring social media. So I think that's interesting that males prefer in person while females prefer social media as compared to in person. Okay, so that's another thing that we could find out here. As I'm making this video, you might just go back and you can screenshot or whatever you want to do with these numbers, but you'll want to put these in a table of some sort, probably different tables. And you can Google APA MANOVA table and figure out how to do this, but it's not that bad. And you can also look in the sample paper that is on the Blackboard site, and that will help you too. Now, let's do one more just for fun here. Multivariate. Let's throw everything in here and split it based on sex and see what we get. So we've got no significant differences between any of these and sex. So males and females don't see them very different. The next closest is this one, 0.218. So that's time on social media. Let's go and take a look at that. Time on social media, 1.9 for males, females 2.3. So females say that they spend more time on social media, but not significantly more than males. So basically, you've got non-significant findings, and that's fine. That's not a bad thing. All that means is that you can go with simple descriptive statistics. And when you do that, you can just say that men and women are basically the same. Yeah, some prefer the what was it? The social media. Women prefer social media, where men prefer a phone. I'm sorry, women prefer social media here. Males more likely to prefer in person. Phone or in person was the same. Time on social media, women say they spend a little more time. They feel like they spend a lot of time. That's the same, 1.25, 1.30. And then are you dependent on technology, 1.50, 1.53. So it's the same there too. So you can use these mean numbers in your paper. I'm going to run one more quick test just to see what happens here. So I'm going to do a correlation. And that's just to see if any of these things change at the same time that other things change. One of the other things change. So let's do means and standard deviations. Style doesn't matter. See what we get. So you'll notice that there's a 1 running diagonally here. So that's when you're comparing the same thing, sex to sex, time on social, that kind of thing. And so what we're going to look for is strong correlation values, and we've got a couple. Here, 7.6, sex, feel like they spend a lot of time. We found out that wasn't significant. 8.5, dependent on tech. There's another one, person or on the phone. This is just a different way of looking at it, but you'll see the highest, you can look at it this way too. 0.896 is the highest correlation, and that's what we found was closest to significance. Then what's the next one? 0.85, dependent on technology. What did we come up with for that one? Dependent on technology. See, that was exactly the same. But the reason that it's the same here, but down here it says that there's a strong correlation, is because of the number of males and females in your study. So there were 12 males and 13 females. So really, you don't need to worry about that last part at all. Just know that, here's the breakdown. Overall, when you don't worry about sex, you see it here. Phone or in person, social media or in person. Really, it's a draw with social media and a slight favor toward in person overall. But then when we break it down by sex, we see that it's still the same, but there's a preference for in-person over social media for men, and a preference for social media over in-person for women. And that statistic is there, 175, 138. And these two, like I said, are the same basically. And then we come down here and we see the same thing. Dependent on technology. Yeah, no. It's just that number right there that mattered. And it didn't really matter. It's the closest to mattering. So again, non-significant findings are okay, because now you can say when it comes to men and women, at least in your group, there doesn't seem to be a difference in how they respond to your questions. So while you're able to answer your questions that you have right there, what you'll be able to also say is that that's the same for men and for women. All right, I hope this is helpful. If not, let me know, and I'll try to explain it a different way. But again, when you go to create graphs, you're going to want to, or graphs, charts, tables, you're going to really make two, and this is one basically right there. You don't need the range minimum maximum. You can take that out and you'll just have like phone in person, in is the number of people that you looked at, the mean and the standard deviation. And you don't need the whole number. You can just do 0.4, it'll become 0.48 round up because of the 6, and then 0.51 round up to. And then for the other one, you can say there was just not a significant difference, but the descriptives would be what you would want. And so with this one, I would put this whole thing in your paper, and that will be helpful. Now, it's probably, I know you don't screenshot it from this because you'll want to use APA, but it's really not that bad. I mean, you'll open a Word document, insert table, and just remember to count all these. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 down, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across. And that will set you up the way you need to. And then you'll have to play with lines a little bit. But again, Google that APA table descriptive statistics, and you should be good. All right, talk to you later. Maybe.